Here I am. And to be honest with you, I wasn't so sure I was going to be with you today. Did many of you, especially y'all out on the West Coast, did you guys experience the Facebook Meta Universe outage this morning? I mean, you got to tell me something. Because at 10:30, my Facebook just went away. And it kept making me log in. I kept logging in, and it's like it wouldn't take it. So I was like, well, I'll change my password. Change the password. Then I couldn't remember what I changed it to. So then I had to change it again. Man, it was a mess. It was a mess. It was such a mess. I left work early to come home and make sure it was still good here on the computer. And then I was able to get it all back within a matter of minutes. But yeah, I'd already called the Minister of Props and or Ganders and had him ready to come on at 8 o'clock sharp and let you all know that the unimpeachable president for life, Jeffrey K. Clayton, the long-haired weirdo, would not be making an appearance on Break On Through tonight. And I asked Malcolm if he wanted to go ahead and do Break On Through, but he's wiped out, man. He just got back from his tour with Prophenomica, and he said, man, I'm not psyched up enough to do a... So hopefully he will be tomorrow for Tent Talks Tunes. We'll find it. Maybe he'll pop in on here at some point and let us know if we can expect a Tent Talks Tunes tomorrow evening on his Facebook page. Well, I see the numbers are popping up. I hope a lot of you didn't experience that outage and still can't get on. Man, everybody's here. Let's see who else is here. Clintonzilla, Adam Wolf, Callie Hellstrom from way down around California town, Benoit from up Canada way, Terry Myers, Brandon Yeti. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get news out of the way first, okay? New beautiful hats in the big cartel store. There's not many. There's not many of them. I saw someone ask, you going to have these in New York? Well, that all depends. If they all sell out, I may have to talk to Bobby G and arrange getting some more of those camo cat. Man, things look nice, don't they? Oh, yeah. But, oh, here's everybody. Mondo's here. Jeff's here. Walt Wheat. There's Amy Nicoletto. Alan. There's Amy. All right. It is a rock and roll party. But, y'all go ahead with the announcement. The hat. New hats on Big Cartel. Take a look at them. Not many. Get them if you want them. Oh, man, I'm already on it. All right. ANTiSEEN. Live and in person. Walking the boards. Taking the One Trick Pony Show out on the road. Doing it only as we can do. And we will be appearing at one of these fine dance halls near you. April 4th, we will be at Underground Arts in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We are one of the opening bands for the Eat the Turnbuckle final Bloodbath Battle Royal. Now, I know people would bring people to see us now. I'm turning you on to these guys. These guys are crazy, man. You really enjoy this show. But if you did that with somebody and took them to see Eat the Turnbuckle, that person would probably never ever speak to you again. Because as crazy as we are, they're like 15 times crazier. I look at them and go, what the hell are these guys doing? But hey, word had it that they formed the band to open for us in Philadelphia. And they went on to some pretty damn impressively big things. But all good things must come to an end, I suppose. And they will be calling it quits on April 4th at Underground Arts. The next night, we'll pack up the One Trick Pony show, the Magic Chicken Dance. We will have it in the great town of Youngstown, Ohio, at the West Side Bowl on April 5th. Now, we've had some wild shows in Youngstown, Ohio. First time we ever played Youngstown, Ohio, we played with, now I can't remember if it was Knife Dance or if it was Amps to 11. I think it was Knife Dance. And, man, we basically played, there was one guy in the crowd. One guy. One guy. But other than that, we've had some pretty wild shows in Youngstown. I hope everybody hadn't aged out. But the next night, April 6th, we're packing up that entire circus and we are taking it to York, Pennsylvania. Another town that has a long ANTiSEEN history. Maybe not York specifically, but the area. The first label, the first official label we were ever on was Bonafide Records out of Red Lion, Pennsylvania. Not very far from York. I really like that area. I really do. And I'm looking forward to going back there on April 6th at the Skid Row Garage. So if you are in the area, you want to see something, but you don't feel like staying out until 4 or 5 in the morning, and you got all your work done at the house, and you ain't too wore out, come on out. We will put on a dance routine like you ain't never, ever, ever seen. So come on. All right, that's all I got for announcements, I think. Jeff Martin's here. Brian Dunlap. Josh is with me. Yeah, Kelly, you were telling me that there should be camo hats. That's Stefan, John, Dale. All right, man. The gang is all here. Now, I'm going to say something. I'm going to try something tonight. I call it rapid fire thoughts. I'm not going to say what I usually say. I got a new thing I'm going to do here on Break On Through because I usually do it one time and then I never do it again. So what I got tonight is rapid fire thoughts. Stuff I've thought about over the week. I put it in my notes and then put it in the Break On Through notebook. Or I keep my notes. I don't think I keep them all. I throw them away when they get too big. Oh boy, look at me yawning. But here, I got some stuff I want to talk about. I talked about that Facebook outage. I'm going to get me a big old I'm going to get me a big old black magic marker and mark out these topics, or else I'll start talking about them again. All right. Speaking of Facebook, man, do you guys ever see those articles? Like it's something you really, really want to know the inside scoop on, especially about wrestling. But they have them about rock and roll, too. And you go, okay, yeah, I got a minute. I'm going to read this. First of all, it sounds like it's written You know how you get people, it's like if they're telling you a story and they every single detail, and not only do you have to know every single detail, but you have to know it like 3 times before they go on, and you're just going. Yeah, once you're going, yeah, I'm kind of experiencing that right now, mofo. But no, you know, it's different. I'm talking about myself. But these guys write, and it's just like, all right, I'm just going to make this up. I kind of make it up. Like, there was one song that John Bonham simply hated to play with Led Zeppelin. And then you go, okay, I want to hear what that is. Okay, and then you start reading the article. There was one song that John Bonham absolutely hated playing during his time in Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin was a group from the 70s, a super group formed in the 60s from the ashes of the Yardbirds, blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, anybody that touched this already knows all that. We know who Led Zeppelin is. I don't think we need a crash course on who they were. And then John Bonham was a fantastic drummer, blues trained, you know, and but there was one song in the catalog, in the extensive catalog of Led Zeppelin that, and you're just going, oh, God Almighty, man, get on with it, get on with it. But in the meantime, while you're trying to read said article, yeah, you know, Clayton, I was thinking, I think most of that shit is AI. And it fucking gets on my nerves, man. But you're trying to look at the art, you know, you're trying to scroll up and look at the rest of the article. There's like 300 ads coming down, coming from the thing, underneath. And it says read more, and you hit read more, but the read more that you hit was a tab to something else. Or you keep going and then your screen just goes white. And you're just like, I'll usually give that about 3 attempts. Sometimes not even. Sometimes once something pops in my view and messes up my damn reading, I X out of the whole damn thing. I hate those articles. I like the information. I can't stand to read them on an iPhone. College towns. From the very beginning of our history in the 80s, all the way up until recently, people, whether it was an individual, whether it was a member of the band, whether it was an agency booking for us, and we get told we're going to play X town, you know, we're going to play town Z, okay, all right. ZLT is a big college town. They always said that like it meant something. I don't know. I don't think ANTiSEEN was ever a band that appealed to a college crowd. For instance, we would play, you know, some of these cities, these college towns that were supposed to be so good for. And if it was a Thursday night, it usually was because everybody was clearing out of town for the weekend. You played on a Friday or Saturday night, and it's just like, I don't know, you may as well be playing New London, North Carolina. But we always seem to do so much better in the smaller, blue-collar, working-class cities and towns. Is that me just romanticizing the whole thing? No, it's not. It's fact. It's true fact. Like, especially now. With some young woman with a monk haircut, dyed various colors with a Free Palestine sticker on her shirt, and face tattoos give a damn about a 60-year-old man screaming about guns and eating animals? I don't think so. With a young guy with a sweatshirt of his college that's way into sports be interested in going to see some elderly guys strutting around a stage screaming about monsters and kung fu and playing washboards, and I don't think so. But what do I know? I don't know anything. That's why I don't book bands. But college towns. I don't think college town, it's a big college town. I don't think that means anything for ANTiSEEN. Like, for instance, Ryan here says he lives in Boone. Our first show ever was in Boone, but I don't think it had much to do with it being a college town. Now, true, the interest in general for a punk rock show in 1983 in the hills of North Carolina, the college town did, but it attracted the types that would come to this kind of show. You know what I mean? I don't think college town meant anything. And I will end it with, well, what do I know? Have any of y'all ever seen the video of Manny Fernandez versus Invader number 3? Speaking of one of those articles, I was reading about that the other day. Man, I had forgotten about that. I forgot, and I just know the first person to show that to me was the Cosmic Commander. The first week we met him, the first couple of days we met him, we were in San Francisco. We were staying at our record label guy, the guy that ran Rave Records. His name was Todd Cody. We were staying at his house in San Francisco. That was our home base. You know, we would play and come back. And he's the one that introduced me and Cosmo. And, man, we hit it off immediately. And he asked me, like, you know, after the pleasantries were all over, he's like, dude, have you seen that match with Raging Bull and Invader 3? I'm just like, no, man, I don't know nothing about it. He's, dude, I'm bringing it over tonight. You know, we had a night off, and Cosmo came over and showed us that. I mean, do any of you know what that means? Well, yeah, we've all seen bloody matches, and with hardcore wrestling being even more popular than it's ever been, it's not very shocking anymore. But I'm going to tell you, if you see this, this is shocking. And now there has been debate for decades and decades as to whether this is even legit. Well, I'm going to tell you what, the audience there in Puerto Rico thought it was legit, and they were ready to kill Manny Fernandez. He comes down on Invader 3, and Invader 3 is not a big guy, but he puts a knee like right here at his chest, and man, he starts writhing around, and all of a sudden, man, he lays on his back, and blood just comes out of his mouth like a geyser, and it goes on for a little bit. Manny Fernandez manages to get 2 more knee drops on him before they, you know, the ring's got blood all over it. And they're just like, all right, this is it. It's over. Manny leaves. Now, here's the controversy about this. They say this was done. This match happened like 2 months before Brody was murdered in Puerto Rico. But Manny Fernandez insists that it was after Brody was murdered, and this was retaliation. And man, he sticks to that story to this day. If you get a chance to watch it, do. Manny Fernandez, the Raging Bull, versus Invader number 3 in Puerto Rico. That's your viewing assignment for the next couple days. So, the other day, the First Lady said something. We were eating somewhere, and she said something. I don't even remember what she said, but I just started laughing, and I said, that sounds like something Barbara Young would have said. Now, Barbara Young was the mother of Jeff and Joe Young. And I knew Barbara and their father, David. And I'm telling you, their mama was classic Southern mama. Their dad was classic Southern dad, man. He was quite a card. And there were Barbara Young-isms, that she would say. And my mom was very, very much the same way. And I don't even think our moms ever met. I don't think they were ever in the same place at the same time. But so the subject of Barbara came up, and I just remembered something Jeff Young said. They were driving along somewhere in Lenore, and they saw some guy, with an army jacket on, walking around kind of, just walking on the side of the road. I guess David made some comment, and Barbara says, that poor thing, he's just quivering for a joint of marijuana. Now, when Jeff told me, Jeff used to make me laugh so hard, man, on our trips, and he told me that, and especially when we were in Europe, when those guys were smoking hash, every 20 minutes, and if they had to go for for an extended period of time, Jeff would look over at me and say, Clayton, man, I'm just quivering for a joint of marijuana. Oh, good times. Quivering for a joint of marijuana. When I do this again, I'll tell you more Jeff Young-isms, man. Jeff came up with some of the most classic lines, one-liners. Do y'all like Blue Cheer? The San Francisco band, Blue Cheer. Man, I love Blue Cheer. And around 1991, lead singer and bass player extraordinaire, Mr. Dickie Peterson. From that point on into a few years later, Blue Cheer became entangled in my life for a very short time. And I wanted to tell you about it. My wife at the time, Dee, she was pregnant with Carrie, and she had been in and out of the hospital for months. And it finally got to the point where they said, look, you just go home, and if you go into labor, it'd be fine to come, because everything is, we're in a safe zone now. So, okay. Well, there was one of these things, and I forgot what it was called, man. But it was a lot of groups, Mountain, Badfinger, I think Foghat, oh God, who else, man? Groups like that and Blue Cheer. And I'm just like, man, it's Blue Cheer. Now, everyone's only playing three to five songs. Like the opening group's only playing 3 songs. But, man, it was Blue Cheer. And I was like, oh, we want to go, you know, and she wanted to get out. So she went. But she brought a big quilt to put over her stomach, you know, because Blue Cheer was known to be loud. And they did not disappoint. But they played... They played their 3 songs. Summertime Blues, of course, is what they played. And they also played Out of Focus and Dr. Please. And I couldn't have been happier. Well, being as loud as they were, Dee started having contractions. And we're just like, you know, we better get out of here. Blue Cheer was first. We paid full cover charge. Didn't get to see Badfinger, Foghat, Mountain, nobody. So we're leaving. I mean, I brought all my Blue Cheer records and CDs and everything, and we saw. And I asked, you know, we saw Dickie Peterson walking out to the parking lot, and I'm just like, you know. I mean, of course, I got my wife with me. But, you know, she gets in the car, sits down, and, well, no, she took a picture of me and Dickie first. And I got him to sign all the records out of the back of the car, and he asked if we were staying for the rest of the show. And I said, nah, man, we got to go. I said, my wife's having contractions. We may have to go to the hospital tonight. And well, let me tell you what Dickie Peterson said to me and her. He's like, hey, man, wouldn't it be beautiful if the baby was born like right here at the show? And I was like, no. That would not be beautiful. But I thanked him. And signed the stuff. And I still got all that stuff, man. But, yeah, years later, man, I was, we were playing in Cologne, Germany at a club called The Underground. And a guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, Jeff Clayton, you love Blue Cheer? I said, yeah, I love Blue Cheer. He says, come here. He goes with me to a payphone, or I go with him to a payphone. And he calls a number and he's talking to somebody. And he goes, here. And I said, hello? He goes, hello. And I said, who is this? He goes, Dickie. I was like, Dickie Peterson? He goes, yeah. I was like, oh, man. And it was so loud in there, we couldn't hear it. And he said, but it turns out he worked at the club. He was part of the maintenance crew. Like, he was coming in the next day, and I never was a garage next door. He may have been working for them, too. But he was cleaning. We came the next day to get our equipment. We left our gear there. And they said, well, he'll be here, you know, like 10 in the morning. And we were going to go get our stuff around 11. And sure enough, there he is. Dickie Peterson of Blue Cheer, dumping trash cans at the club we just played. And I walked up to him, and I'm just like, man, you know, like I was beside me. And Joe introduced himself. You know, Joe don't do that too much, but he was impressed with seeing, you know, a 60s rock legend dumping trash at the club we played. And I'm not saying that disparaging. I'm just saying that as, I mean, everyone's got to make a dollar, but that was just weird to see. But you know, he talked for a while, and I explained about meeting him at the club in Charlotte, being the couple that was getting ready to have. He says he remembered. I don't know, but it was really, really nice to get to talk to him again. So there's how Blue Cheer. You know, I'll tell you something else about Blue Cheer. Do you guys remember Deep Red magazine? That was done by a man named Chas Ballin, a fantastic artist, one of my favorite artists. And Man, he was one of the first artists I think I ever commissioned to draw a cover for us, the Walking Dead cover. And what really got him hooked on wanting to do the job, because I mean, it wasn't like he was hurting for work. You know, he was drawing stuff in Fangoria, was drawing stuff for Fantico, all kinds of ads and movie stuff. But man, when he found out I did Blue Cheer, man, that's all he wanted to talk about on the phone. I even got the cardboard that he sent, the original drawings right up there. Let me see if I can maneuver this so y'all can see. I'm not doing too good a job as I see right there. It's right above. There it is. You see it? Right there it is. Right above Peter Chris on the motorcycle. And you're like, what's that blank space? I mean, don't y'all worry about that. I'll have that filled up soon. But yeah, I've got the original cardboard where he, he was writing, thanks for, let me do the job, all this stuff. And he signs it, Blue Cheer lives. So that's another way that Blue Cheer kind of intertwined into my existence. Miranda says, oh, you remember you can try to deliver that baby. Well, that time she was already about 4 years old. So, did you know that your humble host, Jeffrey K. Clayton, the long-haired weirdo, the unimpeachable president for life, was once caught in quicksand? Oh, yeah. I ain't lying to you. Now I'm going to call on some of my Mississippi people, Mobile people, to verify this. But man, see, I spent quite a few years in Biloxi, Mississippi. I don't know, 72 to 74 or 5, probably 75. We were Air Force, so we ended up down there at Keesler Air Force Base. And I told y'all about, the UFO. If I didn't, if you want to hear it again, say something on here and I'll write it down in my stuff to talk about, a future episode. But, we lived in a trailer park called Cedar Lake Mobile Home Village. See, I guess all the white trash lived in the trailer parks. We lived in a mobile home village. It was a village. But at the end of the mobile home village, they had dug out a giant area, bigger than, I don't know, man, bigger than 2 football fields, maybe 3. It was going to be a big indoor mall on this. And see, I wasn't even in Biloxi proper. We were in a little town outside Biloxi called D'Iberville. And they dug this thing up. And from what I understood, what I could understand being 10 or 11 years old, is funding for this thing just went, like, they just stopped. Dug the gigantic pit and left it. And I don't know when that happened. Granted, keep in mind, this is 73. And it looked like it had been left for a year. So it could have been 70 or even into the 60s. And they just let it go. And, the parents always said, don't go play down in the pit, which was the green light to go play down in the pit. And most of it was, a bunch of a bunch of white clay and stuff. But man, there was a one section of it, and you know, we didn't. And even though we didn't listen about playing in the pit. We did not go to the very, very, very far end where it looked like, and I don't know if it turned into a swamp or if it was butted up next to a swamp, but it was swamp. It was classic, grade A, #1, all-American, homemade swamp. Water, white cranes standing around. We saw an alligator. We didn't see alligators. We saw an alligator walk across the sand one time. And that was reason enough to not go down there, because we didn't, when you're far away like that, you don't know if the damn thing's 3 foot long or 30 foot long, you know? So we just like, yeah, we need to stay away. But one day, yeah, and water moccasins, yeah, we saw water moccasins all over that place, man. But, one day we're walking, man. We're going to walk close to the swamp. We're going to look at it, see what's down there. About 3 or 4 of us. And man, we're walking, just walking right across that sand, and it started getting really, 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 really flat. And then I'm walking, and all of a sudden, you know, and this is hard ground. It's not, you're not sinking. You know, I'm just walking. Next thing I know, just out of nowhere, I am down to my knees in this dirt. And it like formed back around me as if I wasn't even standing there. You know, and I'm just like looking at it. And man, the more I tried to get out, I'm doing this number right here, I'm going further down. It got to my thighs. And then, man, it got up to my waist. Like, you know, my pants with my button and zipper were all covered. And, man, I'm really starting to panic now. One of my other friends got caught in. He didn't go down as deep as far as me, because he kind of leaned into the thing and just kind of pulled. But my friends were pulling me up. He lost one of his shoes in it. He couldn't go down and get it. And I got pulled out. And, man, we never, ever, ever went down that way. I told my mama, how, you know, she's yelling at me, how on earth did you get so, I was in some quicksand. Oh, good gosh. She's squirting me down with a hose. Squirting me down with a hose, you know, before I could come in the house. You know, of course, I had to strip down outside. And, but yeah, it was the 70s, and I got caught in quicksand. Just like on every television show where they go to Hawaii or they go to some island. I got to experience that. Your humble narrator is a quicksand survivor. Now, y'all think about that tomorrow. Y'all think about that tomorrow while you're on the forklift or filling out the order. Do you fill out stuff with pens anymore? I mean, I'm writing with pens and markers here, but do we do pens? Everything's... Nah, man. Just think about it while you're doing what you do. If you're a lineman for the county, think about it. Damn. The unimpeachable Prez was in quicksand. He survived quicksand. I'll live to tell the story. Clayton said I wouldn't have got stuck if I had a bullwhip. Man, we used to make bullwhips out of these strips of cotton. We'd get, you know, the chicks around there could do braids. We'd get them to braid. Hey, will you make me a braid out of it? You know, we'd take like a stick and put it on there, and then take a piece of hose. Yeah, we'd probably steal somebody's hose and cut it and put it on there, and we're... But it did not prevent me from almost losing my life in quicksand. Now, I'm going to tell you what, if I ever tell this story again, you know I'm going to spice it up a little more. I'm going to tell you, I got all the way to here. And I had to get a water buffalo to pull me out. But The other part I told you was true. But you ever had one of... I was about to start that off completely wrong. They were not one of my favorite bands, but they're a band I liked. You ever heard of The Damned? You ever had a band that you like make fun of you? Well, The Damned made fun of us. It was Captain Sensible and Dave Vanian were being interviewed by John Holstrom. He was making another attempt at Punk magazine, and I don't even remember what magazine I saw this in. I guess it must have been Punk magazine. I guess it's one of the early versions that were online. Or not the early ones from the 70s, but like from the 90s. And I guess the label we were on, Steel Cage, sent a big package of Steel Cage merchandise to Holstrom for review in Punk magazine. Well, they did it in a way that they were going to listen to this stuff, and they included us and Cockneys and Hellstomper. I don't remember what they said about Cockney. Maybe it wasn't Cockney, but it was not Hellstomper, Hammerlock. And I was reading this, and like Dave Vanian wasn't too. I mean, he was diplomatic. Let's put it that way, okay? But Holmstrom, pumps in with, well, the reason I like the bands from the 77 era is because the singers could actually sing, like you, Dave. Okay. And then they could actually carry a tune and had some melody and all this, and I'm like, okay. And I'm starting to get a little insulted until I read what Captain Sensible's letting us have it with both barrels. But you know what? What he said about us, I should have used it as promo material for that entire decade. He heard a little bit of whatever. I don't even remember what CD it was, but he's like, he said, this is a bunch of testosterone-fueled rubbish. And I'm like, well, coming from a guy that wears a pink and yellow fuzzy suit, I'll take that. That's all right. Then he goes, then he's like, says, yeah, I bet these guys have never been to an art museum. And I was like, fool, you don't even know how many art museums old JC's been to. But then he even said, well, you know what? That probably makes me sound like a frou-frou or something like that. And I was like, yeah, you kind of do. But I always said if I ever saw Holmstrom, I was going to say something to him. Like, you prick. You're goading them. But then I said, you know what? I don't care. I just simply do not care. I still love Machine Gun Etiquette. I actually love the Black Album. But I never listened to anything beyond that. And And since we're talking about the Damned, man, I think Music for Pleasure is one of their best ones, and they hate that record. They've never done anything like a remix or a remaster or nothing. Not that I know of. I don't follow them. I don't keep up with them. But no, Mondo, my brother made out with Starry Night. I know that sounds like he's been going to strip bars, but it's actually a very famous painting. But and the first album, of course, is classic. But I really like that second album. I liked every single song on it. I used to have one on blue vinyl. But like I said, Machine Gun Etiquette, I love the fact that they had Algie Ward playing for them. And, but yeah. So that's where a band that I liked was putting down the Wild-Eyed Southern Boys, the Boys from Brutalsville, the Battle Wheel Ambassadors, the Destructo Blitzkriegers, the Thieves, of which there is honor among, New London, North Carolina's favorite sons, ANTiSEEN. Well, y'all, as Sam and Dave were once noted to say, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. And I thank you all for being here with me on a Tuesday night. And I think I'm going to try next week to have it be the episode where Jeff Williams, my good friend Jeff Williams, comes on here to interview me. We'll see if we can get that to work. What do y'all think about that? You think maybe I should start it a little earlier? Whoa. Jeff Martin just said something about Captain Sensible. Dang, Jeff, I lost your comment. I saw you say something about letting him borrow 2 of your SGs. And if I know Jeff Martin, he's not usually one to be passing out guitars. Oh, good gosh, man, where'd it go? Well, y'all, go look at Jeff Martin's comment. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, Walt said it vanished. Yeah, I thought I saw it. Yeah, Jeff, do forward that story to me if you would. I'm interested to hear it. So, Amy, you say I should start the show a little early if Jeff's going to interview me. Maybe I should start it at 7:30, huh? Thank you, Brandon. Morbid Prints are here. Get your stickers done from Morbid Prints. Well, folks, have a good evening. Have a greater weekend. Oh, and I just want to say, I left you with a little bit of a heavy note last week, but this week I want to tell you that little Winter got to go home. And her mama and her dad, they've been through a lot. and they've missed some work and stuff, but they're doing good. She's out of the hospital, and all I can say is I thank every one of you so much for saying a little prayer for that little girl. I believe in the power of prayer, and she is now home, and that's what we wanted. Thank you so much, everybody. And I'll see you next week right here on Break On Through. And if Jeff is going to interview me, my ad will indicate as to whether we are able to start earlier or not. Okay? Take care, everybody, and thank you.